Right, so the Houthis of Yemen. This channel does keep coming back to them because, well, why not? They are not easing up on their attacks on pro-Israel shipping for as long as Israel's genocide in Gaza continues. Many of us respect them for their temerity here. But with the British registered cargo vessel Rubymar now having officially sunk, it took its time, and not before the Houthis preserved the lives of all those concerned by rescuing the crew, as they did. They've officially now sunk a ship for the first time. It may not be the last, they have said. They're going to carry on despite what the West might say and how aggravated that might make us, or our government anyway. What Israel's supporters might say as well. But you might be interested to know that our diminutive defence secretary, with no discernible defence background, but with as many identities as he has, who knows if one of them does, although currently passing himself off as under the name of Grant Shapps, it would seem he's blown the defence budget and is going cap in hand for emergency funding to carry on his futile fight in the Red Sea. He's wasted our money on a fight we can't win because he can't handle it, because the government won't do the right thing and condemn Israel and demand they get out of Gaza. He wants to waste even more. Right, so the Rubymar has finally sunk, having been hit by Houthi rockets, which crippled it, triggering the Houthis to hurriedly rescue the crew, which they did. Preservation of life at the core of everything they've been doing. No fatalities have been recorded committed by them still as a result of their actions in blockading the Red Sea, the bab-el-mandeb Strait and the Gulf of Aden, as they are able to do, despite having no navy at all of their own, just by virtue of their geography, rubber speedboats, drone strikes and a few missiles. The losses on the other side, though, have been catastrophic financially, with multi-million-dollar Reaper drones lost, very expensive missiles being used to take out very cheap drones, and of course all the economic fallout of shipping having to take the long way around Africa to avoid the Red Sea and the now inaccessible Suez Canal, at least as far as Israel, the US and the UK are concerned. I'm sure you've noticed your petrol prices rising. Is that a consequence of the UK attacking Yemen and getting ourselves added to the Houthis' Red Sea block list? Well, an awful lot of oil comes out of that region, doesn't it? Let's come back to the Houthis first, though, because they aren't easing up one iota in their agenda, still swearing never to let up on their blockade for as long as Israel keep pounding Gaza. They are making good on that threat, especially in light of the Rubymar finally sinking. In typical Houthis fashion, they have ridiculed the West over this to boot, putting out a video of the ship, mocking the likes of Genocide Joe and Rishi Sunak in it, all to the theme tune of Titanic, being played on what sounds like a kid's recorder, actually, and well, that is precisely why I've opted not to include it in this video, because recorders are frankly nails down the blackboard to me. Go search Houthis Titanic, I'm sure you'll find it. That said, though, here is a video clip I would like you to have a quick watch of.
Breaking news for you now, and Houthis in Yemen have said they will continue targeting British ships in the Gulf of Aden. You'll know that's following the sinking of the UK-owned vessel Rubymar. That was sunk after being struck by anti-ship ballistic missile fired a couple of weeks ago now. Hussein al-Ezzi, who's the Deputy Foreign Minister in the Houthi-led government in Yemen, said in a post on X that Yemen will continue to sink more British ships and any repercussions or other damages will be added to Britain's bill, saying that following the sinking a couple of weeks ago of the UK-owned vessel, the Rubymar. More on that as we get it.
Now, they cut off that response by Yemen's Deputy Foreign Minister Hussein al-ezzi on Twitter, rather conveniently, because he said a great deal more than just the Houthis sinking more British ships and adding the cost to Britain's bill, because the full tweet reads, Yemen will continue to sink more British ships and any other repercussions or damage will be added to the bill of Britain as a rogue state that attacks Yemen and partners with America in sponsoring the ongoing crime against civilians in Gaza. You can't mess around in my country and then go spend your evening in Fabric. Whoever hurts Yemen, we will hurt him. Fabric is apparently a reference to a London nightclub. You don't think of Houthis as being part of the club scene, do you? You learn something new every day. Anyway, we stuck our noses in militarily, where we had no business to whatsoever. It had nothing to do with us, because this ridiculous government of ours, like so many others, jumps the moment America tells us to, and now already in recession, we've increased our economic difficulties even more. But despite all of that, Grant Shapps, at least that is the name he goes by in government, the most inexperienced, ridiculous defence secretary we've ever had, is determined to carry on, getting us making a fight in the Red Sea that we can't win, The Houthis repeatedly demonstrate that. They beating up Israeli forces, and they're doing it on the cheap, and no amount of aggression, which has led to the only fatalities out there, will work because they just don't respond that way. You hit them, they just come back, saying, I can do this all day, and more cheaply than you can. Despite being in recession, Shapps wants the Treasury to cough up another £3.2 billion in emergency funding to his department. Not just to take on the Houthis, it should be noted. He wants to throw more money at Ukraine too. Priorities, you see. All that is more important than us, or public infrastructure, all that sort of stuff. These puffed up, full of their own importance, willy-waving politicians really care about. Ego-stroking, self-aggrandising and self-importance. Let's not forget we've got the budget coming up this week too, with some Tory tub-thumping going on to raise defence spending up to 3% of GDP, so we can make even more of a global nuisance of ourselves. It's not our job to keep shoring up Ukraine. Not when that is requiring more money than budgeted for. And besides, you would have more money for that if you didn't insist on pissing off the Houthis and wasting money there shilling for Israel. So many people in this country are in poverty, and the fight with the Houthis is unwinnable and completely unnecessary, and we don't belong there, and is in no small part adding to those economic difficulties we're experiencing here. So if Parliament signs off on Shapps' emergency funding request, they are even more ridiculous and more wasteful than ever. The economy is supposed to be everything. That's what Boris Johnson made it out to be during the COVID crisis, isn't he? How many people died so that the economy could keep going? So in which case, why is Israel being put first all the time now? Tell them to stop. Get on the right side of history here, and once ended, the Houthis will leave our shipping alone. Container ship traffic through the Red Sea is apparently down by a third on the first part of 2024 compared to last year. And it's only Israeli, British and US shipping that is affected. We can't win this. And for as long as our stupid leaders think otherwise, it seems they'll waste even more money and resources trying. The Houthis raised their game. We can't raise ours. And they'll keep doing so if we continue to bring more arms to bear on them. Because Iran, those Iran-backed Houthis, Iranian-backed Houthis, I'm not sure the mainstream media tell us that enough. Don't forget, we might forget, but Iran will keep arming them. And they've given them a number of new toys to play with to do so. So this video recommendation here will tell you all about those. And I'll hopefully catch you on the next vid. Cheers, folks.